I considered naming this series of videos Willow Mists, but I decided not to. I guess you could call that a missed opportunity. What a great way to start a show. What's going on, guys? You're in with Hardy Tech, and welcome to a little, spin-off series for Pokemon Countdown I'll be calling Missed Opportunities. Yeah, I would have gone with Little Miss, but it seemed like a kind of vague title, and I didn't want people to be confused, and... Anyways, over the next few videos, we'll be looking at several different points of interest in the Pokemon world, and pointing out how it could have been better, because I'm on the internet, and clearly I know what's best. Today we'll be looking at gym leaders and their respective Pokemon gyms. And today this list will only contain 10 things, however I'm sure I could have made it a lot longer, so maybe we'll have a part 2 in the future. Finally, keep in mind these aren't really in any specific order, so with that out of the way, let's get started with number 1. Let's start off with traveling to the Hoenn region and the Mauville Gym. Watson, the gym leader here, specializes in electric-type Pokemon. In Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire, he uses a team consisting of Magnemite, Voltorb, and Magneton. Not a horrible team if you were a Kanto gym leader. See, I'm a big believer in representing the Pokemon from your home region, which will be a common theme today, so get used to hearing that. And Watson in the anime was known for his Manectric, arguably the most popular electric-type Pokemon from Hoenn. This was fixed in Pokemon Emerald and he had one added to his team, but for some baffling reason they reverted back to his old team in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Even a gym trainer in his own gym uses an Electrike. Although, speaking of Watson's gym trainers, they also have some very odd choices, including using Metatites and oddly, Gulpins. Completely ignoring Plus One Minun as well, who don't make a single appearance in the entire gym in any version of these games. I just don't understand the decision to have Magnetite and Magneton on his team, and it's just really a confusing letdown. Off to the Sinnoh region next for another electric-type gym featuring the Sunyshore Gym and its leader, Volkner. Now, he actually did do something right, featuring a Luxray as his main Pokemon and later actually adding Electivire, another Sinnoh Pokemon. So what's the problem, you may be asking? Well, other parts of his team aren't really as respectable. In Platinum, he uses a Raichu and Jolteon, which is great, I have no problem with that. But in Diamond and Pearl, his team consists of Luxray, Raichu, Ambipom, and Octillery. Okay. By the 4th generation, there were 28 different electric types available, and instead he chooses a water type. Okay, I'm not even going to bother with Ambipom, as I really just have no explanation for that, so let's instead focus on Octillery. Now, Sunyshore City is based next to a body of water, and Volkner likes to hang out in a lighthouse, so the idea of a water-type Pokemon is actually pretty fitting. However, I don't know, maybe he should have used a water-type Pokemon that's also an electric type? Like, oh, I don't know, Lantern? Just a thought, Chinchou and Lantern are available in the Sinnoh region, so it's completely baffling to me, but at least Octillery makes more sense than Ambipom. The Unova region's first gym, first gym, Striaton City Gym, doesn't seem too horrible at first glance. In fact, it has a really cool mechanic of a different gym leader depending on who your starter Pokemon is. Another cool mechanic, less cool mechanic from the 5th generation games is the introduction of triple battles and rotation battles, and I think you guys can see where I'm going with this. Having a gym battle be a rotation battle in Pokemon Black and a triple battle in Pokemon White would have been really fun and would follow the tradition set in Generation 3 of having a new battle type be featured as a gym battle. Obviously, this would cause issues with the gym being the first one in the game, as you likely wouldn't have 3 Pokemon by that point. However, it simply could have been moved to later in the game instead to keep this mechanic. Instead, we get a relatively easy battle since the game literally hands you a Pokemon that perfectly counters the gym leader right before it. In the Johto region, there's an isolated town called Cianwood, and on this tiny town is the Cianwood Gym and its leader, Chuck. Chuck specializes in fighting-type Pokemon, and his main Pokemon is a Poliwrath. Now, despite Poliwrath being from the previous generation, I actually do really like this, as it fits because his hometown is on an isolated island. However, his only other Pokemon is a Primeape, so he falls into the same category as Watson from earlier. Sadly, second generation fighting types weren't very common with only 3 new ones, and my original idea was to include the Hitmon trio, giving him 4 Pokemon, as Hitmontop was a new introduction. And this would be keeping Poliwrath as his main Pokemon. Though I do understand why they didn't do this idea, as it'd be very similar to the Fighting Dojo in Kanto. However, there is another fighting type Pokemon who also happened to get looked over by the bug type gym. Yep, Heracross. Which, by the way, you can catch in Azalea Town, which is where the bug type gym is. Can't get no darn Scyther there. Wait, that's the wrong gym. Heracross would have been the perfect partner to Chuck's Poliwrath, but instead we get an angry Rice Ball. From one fighting gym to another, we travel back to the Hoenn region to visit Dewford Town, its local gym, and its leader, Brawly. Now, Brawly uses a Makuhita, a 3rd generation Pokemon, and a pretty decent one at that. I really don't have an issue with that fact at all. In fact, his battle in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire doesn't really have any flaws. Oddly though, Emerald is where the mistakes happen, which is weird as the 3rd version usually fixes these issues instead of messing them up more. You see, in Ruby and Sapphire, his Makuhita knows the moves Bulk Up, Arm Thrust, Sand Attack, and Knock Off. However, in Emerald, Sand Attack and Knock Off are replaced by Vital Throw and Reversal, giving him 4 fighting type moves. Before, Makuhita could be a pretty tough Pokemon to beat. Now, literally any bug type can handle him with ease, and you can find quite a few of them before this point in the game. They completely removed the difficulty of Brawly and really made this battle a bit of a joke. Seriously, as long as you caught a Wurmple, you're good. Luckily, they reverted back to his old team in the remake, which is one of the few good things they reverted back to, but the Brawly of Pokemon Emerald will always be a mystery to me. Heading back to the Sinnoh region again, we visit the first gym this time, and its Rock-type leader, Rourke. Now, in theory, Rourke's team of Geodude, Onix, and Cranidos is actually quite effective, especially as a first gym battle. And in reality, my idea for this gym would likely make it too difficult to handle this early in the game, as Cranidos is a terrifying Pokemon with a 125 attack stat. Even at level 14, that can easily destroy some teams. So its moveset of Headbutt, Pursuit, and Leer is pretty suitable. However, it just seems wrong to me to have a main Pokemon of a gym not feature a move from that type. I mean, Brawly's Makuhita had 4 fighting type moves and Cranidos doesn't even get a rock type move. Really? You could have easily changed the TM of the game from Stealth Rock, which is useless to a majority of players in reality, to something like Rock Tomb, which is still pretty weak. And when it's not super effective, Rock Tomb actually only would have been 5 more base power than Headbutt after adding Stab. Heck, you could even keep Headbutt, it had an open move spot. I understand not wanting Cranidos to be too powerful, but I don't know, maybe don't put a Pokemon with 125 attack stat as the first boss. Just an idea. We have a duo of gym leaders next on our list, and it's probably the most confusing one so far. Sabrina in the Saffron Gym, as well as Koga in the Fuchsia Gym. Though we won't actually be looking at the gym leaders today, instead focusing on the trainers that serve as a test before the final boss of the gym. The Generation 1 and Generation 3 versions of these gyms are quite puzzling. Of the 14 Pokemon used in the Poison-type gym, only 3 of them are Poison types. The other 11 are Psychic types and Ground types, which just happen to be the 2 types strong against Poison. And in the Psychic type gym, there are 16 Pokemon used, and 6 of them are Ghost types, who are also conveniently Poison types, which happen to be strong against Psychic. It would seem that somewhere along the way in development, these gym trainers got switched somehow, as this was fixed in the Generation 2 and Generation 4 games. However, the fact that this was kept in Fire Red and Leaf Green makes me wonder if it was intentional. There were clearly enough Pokemon to fill up these gyms at the time, so I'm always going to wonder what exactly happened here. Though it is number 8 on our list, the next gym might be the biggest missed opportunity on the whole thing. Going back to the Sinnoh region for the final time, we visit the Water-type gym in Pastoria City, run by Crasher Wake. Now, this isn't only a sin by the gym, but also the developers of this game. Generation 4 brought us one of the greatest Pokemon of all time in the form of Finneon. Yet for some crazy reason, it is one of the most forgotten Pokemon of all time, even in its first game. Finneon and its evolution Lumineon are pure water types, and okay, I can accept that they aren't on Crasher Wake's team, but they don't even make a single appearance from the gym trainers, yet Barboach, Wingull, Goldeen, and Azurill, a normal type, are here instead. How does this even happen? I swear it's a conspiracy that the Pokemon Company wants you to forget about Finneon because they know it will destroy Pikachu in popularity if given a chance. Oh, but I didn't forget. And the Finneon movement is just beginning. For the first time on this list, we traveled to the Kalos region to look at, well, pretty much all of them really. Pokemon X and Y are some of the most underwhelming games as far as difficulty goes, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to exclude the first 3 gyms from this list, but the rest of the game felt pretty rushed. But that's something for another day, we'll just focus on the gyms though for this. I was always confused why no gym leader ever featured more than 3 Pokemon. They did usually feature a pretty tough main Pokemon like Sylveon or Avalugg, but it always just seemed odd to face a final gym leader in the entire game who only had half of a team. No other final gym leader has ever had a team that small. Sadly, X and Y overall were pretty flawed games, though I personally still enjoyed them very thoroughly. The gym leaders though always seem more like pushovers than big challenges, and that always left me feeling unsatisfied. And our final stop for today is nowhere. That's because after 50 Pokemon gyms, we've still yet to see a Dark-type gym. Why? I honestly can't think of a reason why they didn't even have one in the second generation. They had enough Pokemon, with Tyranitar or Umbreon serving as a good ace Pokemon if you put it later game. No, thinking about Umbreon makes me want to see an evolution themed gym. I'm not really sure if that's possible. Anyways, every generation we gain more and more dark types, with a total of 46 currently. For comparison, Ghost, the rarest type, has 35 Pokemon, yet has 2 gyms based around that type. You could argue that most evil teams use Dark-type Pokemon, so it's not really necessary, but they also use Poison types just as often, and that's had 2 gyms as well, so what's the excuse? Well, I have a theory, but I'm gonna save that for a later video. Well, that's it for our list of missed opportunities with Pokemon gyms. I just want to thank all of you for watching this. This is one of the longest videos I've made in quite some time now, and it took a lot more effort than I realized going into this. I'd also like to give a special thank you to my Patreon backers who helped make this possible. They get to see these videos 24 hours before anyone else, and they also get cool things like monthly Pokemon wallpapers, Patreon-only live streams, exclusive updates on videos, special one-on-one Skype sessions, and they even get entered into a raffle to decide a video I will make each month. Most of these things are available for just $5 too. So if that sounds cool to you and you'd like to help support me live my dream, a link can be found down below. But that's all for today, guys. I'll probably have the next edition of Missed Opportunities in August, as I want to work on some other videos in the meantime. But until we see each other again, I'm Hardy Tech Yo-Yo. Peace!